Hi and welcome to Advanced Scheduling Job List View training. The Job List View allows you to display and sort jobs in a list view using various filters or queries. Simultaneously display the properties of the jobs, phases and assign resources in a Gantt style view. Find and assign available resources to jobs using drag and drop functionality. Click a column to sort data. Move a column or add a new column from the database as required. Pin information away when not required to maximize screen viewing area. Let's start with the navigation pane. I'll minimize it first. You can see here the navigation pane. The navigation pane allows you to select the current calendar to load entries that have already been loaded into the calendar view, which would be this option here. Click that and press the Go button. You can select today's jobs, yesterday's jobs, or a combination of yesterday, today and tomorrow's jobs. Common option would be, I haven't finished jobs from yesterday and I have today's jobs already scheduled and I need to reschedule some of those jobs so that yesterday's jobs can be completed. There's a query option as well. To use the query option, it's grayed out currently. That's because we haven't loaded a query. We would have to load a query first before we could load jobs for the query option into the job list view. We can find a single job by selecting the finder and allocating a single job, and that would load a single job into our job list view. We can display a date range and we can load jobs between a specific date range. I'm going to use the current calendar and load all jobs in the current calendar. You can see a progress bar down the bottom there, so be patient. I've got 311 odd jobs here in my sample data, so they just take a moment to load. There's a lot of information on some of those jobs. Just while that's nearly loaded. Okay, so you can see we've loaded all the jobs into the system. I'll scroll down and we'll pick up job 137, which is one of the jobs we've been working with in previous training videos. Let's minimize the navigation pane to get more screen real estate. And you can see there I've minimized the navigation pane. To click a job and get details about the job, just click on it and you'll see information about the resources that are loaded, any phases on that job, etc. We can bring that job into zoom to job span, so let's do that. And you can now see it's a 3-day job and we've brought the entire job span into view. The grey entries you can see here for Andrea, if I click on Andrea, these grey entries, when I hover over, we get a hover, and they indicate that Andrea is on a different job, 463 there, she's on another job here, 438 and so forth. So you can't accidentally double book Andrea because you know she's already on other jobs where those grey or ghosted entries are. There are two types of hovers. We just saw one. When we hover over an entry, we see information about that entry, about the job it's related to. We can hover over phase, get information about the phase, and we can hover over our resources and get information about our resources. To draw a new entry, it's very simple. We simply point our cursor at the point where we want to schedule someone. We press the Shift key, and holding the Shift key down, we draw with our left mouse button. And we've now booked Andrea to that job. You can draw another entry simply by drawing, and if you want to move multiple entries, you can paint around the entries and you'll see they'll both be highlighted. If I move one of those entries now, I can move multiple entries at once. Could be a handy option. One of the other things we can do is if we open the phase for a moment, and we link, I'll open the time entry, and we'll link the time entry to the phase. So that's a linked time entry. It's now linked to the phase. You can see when I hover over in the second line there, it's linked to the phase. If I move and reschedule that phase, notice the time entry will move and reschedule automatically. So you could have all time entries linked and they'll automatically move with the phase if they are linked. The red line that we're seeing on screen is the time it is now, so you can keep track of that. Obviously, you would not schedule a job or schedule someone behind or to the left of that line, because that would be time that's passed already. You can move frames around to drag and drop them, get more real estate on screen as required. And we can switch the scale. We're currently looking at 3 days on screen. If we want to look at 1 day, we can switch the scale to 1 day. We can switch the time scale to a week if we wish. We can see a week and so forth. I'll come back to a 4-day view and bring everything on screen for us. Now we have color options similar to the other views. So we're currently looking at priority, and we can see over here the red are priority 1 and the grey are priority 5. If we choose to color by agreement plan, we'll see everything colored by agreement plan, and we'll see that the platinum ones are the orange ones, no agreements are the hashed ones. If we choose to color by customer, we can see all the jobs colored by customer. They're all for Bargain Mart, the blue ones. The system will automatically color for customer because there could be many customers. And similarly for job types, the system will, the system will automatically color for you because there could be many jobs loaded in the view that you have. Obviously, jobs of the same color are easy to define if you color by job. Let's look at job type. So now we can see all the service jobs, all the service turbine jobs. We look at status. We can see all the jobs by status. The grey ones are pending jobs. Again, if someone's in the field, we could simply set their job status in the field to on-site, and then I could see all jobs that were on-site very, very easily. Look at zone, the last one, and we can see all our colouring by zone, so all these jobs are in the north zone. I'll set that back to priority colouring for now, which is the default, and we'll pin that away. And I'll just choose back to 137 there. Now if we click the help option here, we can see some quick keyboard help. So if you want to use your keyboard, you can memorize some of these keystrokes, particularly for things that you use on a regular basis. That's a quick way to remember some of these keystrokes by using the help question function. If we right click on a job, we have various options there. I can open that job, so let's do that. We might make changes to the job or view more additional information. We can do a quick job edit. So maybe I just want to quickly change the status to on-site, and maybe the priority will leave as priority 1. Now, right click again. We can reschedule the job. This is a very handy function. Perhaps the job needs to be moved forward a couple of days, and what we can do is we can move it forward or backward, and we can specify the date to move it to, and that will completely reschedule the job and any linked time entries. If you want to schedule appointments, anything linked to that job will completely reschedule to a different date and time. So all you simply do is specify the date and time you wish to reschedule to. So if I wanted to move that job to the 13th and press OK, and that would reschedule that job. I won't do that now because we've got the job on screen and we're going to be using that. So we've looked at open, reschedule. We can refresh the job at any time, and that'll go through and refresh the job and its details. And we can look at the site business hours in case we want to see what time our customer is open till, in case we're running late, whether we'll still get there in time. And we can always view a site history by pressing on there and viewing a site history. I won't do that just now because customer 1100 is my sample customer, and there's a lot of history there. There's years and years and years of history. Now we have an option here to zoom to job span. This is a really good little option. Sometimes when you first come in and you click on a job, the job's not in view and you want to see the entire job in view. And if you click that, it will bring the job and maximize its viewing area on screen for you. So view to job span just maximizes the viewing area on screen. We can always zoom in and out with the plus minus buttons. You can see there we can zoom in or zoom out accordingly. Just be careful when zooming, because sometimes if you go off screen, the system may require to load data that's not currently visible, and you may get a very slight delay. It should be minimal. So columns up here we have in our list view. We can sort by clicking a column. So if you sort, you'll resort the data by column, as we see here. And I'll put it back into job order. There's that job 137 again. We can also move a column around. So if you wanted to move a column, you might want the site name to be right up the front here. We can do that. Now, because I'm doing it live, this is not going to save my settings. To save settings and rearrange your columns, you would need to go to Tools, Options, and we go to our list setup. And you can see here I could move the column site number up the list, and that would be a permanent move then. So the move when I'm dragging around in the current session is only for that session. To do it permanently, we need to go to Options and move the column. We can add new columns. There's lots of columns. There's several tables to choose from as well. So you can see there the document header table, and we could add all sorts of fields from those columns. Those tables, sorry. So again, clicking a column might sort if we just wanted to see a column sorted by Service Center. We're seeing all the jobs by Service Center now. I'll go back to job 137. Now, what we just saw then, my mouse got the better of me, and what we just saw there was I actually clicked two jobs at once. So watch what happens if I hold my Shift key and click another job. You can see that both jobs have loaded into our view, which can be handy if you're looking to see what your total timing is like for a particular period. You can just continue to hold your Shift view and colour in a few jobs at once, and that will give you an idea. You can always expand out the tree if you want to see the phases within those jobs, but that's a really nice handy view to look at as well. So we're on the current job 137, and if we want to add a new appointment, we simply press the Shift key. I'll reschedule that one, and we simply use the Shift key and add a new appointment by drawing. Let's move that away first, and we'll add a new appointment. So to add a new appointment, hold down your Shift key, use your left mouse button and draw. Now to assign a resource, there's several ways we can do that. I'll just bring this screen up a little bit there, and we'll bring our job back into view. The first way to assign a resource is to click your Resource tab, and you might take Clarence, for example, and drag Clarence out, and you can assign, if you drop them on the phase. I won't create the appointment for the same time as the phase, so we'll say no. And you can see that Clarence has now been added. If I want to schedule Clarence, I hold my Shift key and I can draw, and Clarence has been added to as an appointment to work on that job as well. You can assign equipment resources as well. So if I wanted to take, for example, maybe the boom lifter site, this could be ours, or we could be lending it to the customer or using it on the job ourselves. So now I've got the boom lift there, and we'll schedule that as part of the scheduling function, so that boom lift is now reserved. You could also do the same for subcontractor. Maybe we're doing some cabling at the site, assign the subcontractor, and we could then schedule the subcontractor. Now that subcontractor is pretty busy. That's some bad sample data, but if we just move that through there, we can schedule the subcontractor on site as well. So we've created appointments, we've moved them, we've rescheduled a resource. Another way to find a resource is to use your find option. Now the find option icon is available in several places. We can find using here by clicking here. We can click up here, show available resources, and we could actually click the find option from in here in case you want to find them. Now, you know, we have about 20 odd or 19 equipment records. We've got 3 contractors and we've got 9 employees, but some companies will have 100 plus employees and it's not as easy to quickly locate the suitable employees. So for that we have a find tool. So let's open that up. You can find an unassigned resource in a given date and time range. You can find someone that's assigned in a particular area because you might be wanting to find, you know, if they're in the area, we can give them the next job. There's several options there. You could find an employee by skill set, find all the employees with a given skill set. And we'll just load everyone up for now and turn the skills off and reload that and press OK. And now we can see all the employees that are available currently and where they are. So again, if you want to assign a new resource, you can simply grab a resource. I might take Malcolm, and we'll take Malcolm and assign Malcolm to this job as well by dragging Malcolm up to the job. And then you go on the phase, and Malcolm is now also assigned to this job. There's Malcolm, and if I want to schedule Malcolm, I simply press draw, and he might be doing a night shift, and Malcolm's assigned to that job as well. So we can see where they are on their other jobs. If I hover over there, this is showing us what priority they are. We're currently colouring by priority. We can see where they are and who's available. So this is a busy screen. You know, Clarence has got a fair bit of time, but Clarence is already assigned anyway, so I might give Clarence, you know, another entry on the job. We can quickly reschedule a phase, as we saw earlier, by simply dragging that phase and moving it, and that would reschedule the phase. If there are linked time entries, those appointments will reschedule automatically with that, and we can, if we click on a phase, we can grab the extremities either end, and we can change the start and end date of that phase as well. So rescheduling a time entry, perhaps there's Clarence's time entry and I want to reschedule. I can obviously simply move it. I can give him more time if I want to. Maybe I want to reschedule that to Andrea, so I can move that up and reschedule that to Andrea, and we've rescheduled Andrea on that job instead now. Let's close the find up for a moment. Now there are a couple of options down here. Show time entry completed percentage bar. So if we turn that on, we would see any time entries that have actual. So if I come in here and we'll sync the actual, and I'll choose the labour charge. Click OK. And you can see now, using this option here to hide or show, we can see the actual time as a percentage of the estimate appearing on screen. The next option can hide labels, so we can see information in there. Sometimes it's a bit hard to see because of the size, and the hover will give us all that information anyway. If you want to hide the labels, that'll allow you to hide labels. Again, if we bring up the equipment dock, and I'll just pin that for a moment. So there's our equipment dock. Whenever I click on a job, I'll see the equipment on that job. There's a server there. Click back on 37, I can see the equipment on that particular job. We have the use of the current selection as well. So again, I might want to email the contact or job details. I click on another job, look at the current selection there. I'll get information about that person, contact and email address. Now, another option, we can click the Service Center column to sort by Service Center, but also what we can do is if we just want to view jobs in Kingston, we can click there and we're just going to see Service Center 1 jobs and no other jobs in the system. So that's useful. Now, if you are an employee that's locked to a service center, you'll only see jobs in that service center when you come into the scheduling tool anyway. See all jobs again. I might put in a document number order and we'll go back and find our job 137. Now we can sync to Outlook at any time by simply clicking the Outlook icon up here. And if you wanted to take all admin's entries or Andrea's entries for the period in question, and we can select the entry we want to sync, and we can email that, or we can send it to them as a task so that when they open Outlook they get a task, or we can then send it to them as an appointment. Outlook Sync only works one way. We can only sync from Advanced Scheduling to Outlook. You can't make a change in Outlook and have it update your Advanced Scheduler. That will hopefully come in a later version, but currently that function is not supported. So syncing goes from Advanced Scheduling to Outlook only. At any time you can print a work order or a Gantt. We can print a Gantt chart that we're seeing on screen, or a work order job card. So if we want to select a work order, we can print that, and I might just put some information on. We'll save that and we'll print. So you can see we've got a work order 137, and as we move through that work order, there's our tasks and activities, parts and labour, and a customer may sign off. There was information about the equipment on the other page. See it's under agreement, it's a turbine. You can see the custom fields and so forth. We could have emailed that to our employee from here, so that's handy as well. At any time, if you want to record, you can click on an entry and start a recording by clicking the recorder, or right-clicking on the entry and select recorder start, and that will start time recording. When you're finished, you can stop the recorder using the stop function, and that will place a labour charge for the time that you've selected onto the job. Now, if you need to create a new job, you can always add a new job in the system by selecting the new job icon. We can create it from document entry. We can use the quick document entry or the search function to create a job. So there's several ways to create a new job. I won't cover that in this session because we know how to create a job in document entry, but I can use that option and it would add that job to the list. Other thing you can do is we can map. So if I click a map from here, oh, that one doesn't have an address, so let's find a job that has an address. Let's just see the current, that should have an address. Let's try that one. I think that's just GoToMeeting playing up, but that should have shown us a map of that particular location for that site. So there are your basic functions in the job list view. It's a very powerful view. It's a little bit different to the calendar view. Some people will like to look at all their jobs on screen as we are now, sort them in various ways using different column sorts, and that can be a very handy way to view your jobs. We'll have a look at that view again when we cover the job query, and we'll bring up a query in this view as well to see how they look a little bit later on in the job query training video. So thank you for attending the job list view training session, and I hope that's handy and gets you started using the job list view.